Sometimes I look back at Year 1 Arknights and reminisce about the past. Like how Texas and Yato didn't destroy any need of difficulty, before Myrtle was the most important operator in existence, when bosses were simple and operators didn't have any modules, and powered creep was a distant thing of the future. But among all these things, the one thing I will always miss is how we used to call certain operator types back in the day. Back then, we didn't call lords, we called them long-ranged guards. Marksmen simply were rapid-fire snipers. Centurions, AoE guards. Heavy shooters, close-range snipers. Hookmasters, simply pullers. Push-strokers, simply pushers. And the list goes on. Just by the way you used to call archetypes, you can easily tell who is an OG Arknights player. Because these straightforward names is how the community used to call the different class archetypes. It was simple and comprehensive, and everyone instantly knew what this archetype did. But then, starting with the Solace Holiday, all of this changed. We finally got the official names for all these archetypes. Suddenly we had Centurions, Lords, Hookmasters, Heavy Shooters, Spread Shooters, and all of the other archetypes. And of course, with the Solace, we also got introduced to two more archetypes. The first one being the Reaper archetype, and the second one being the Liberator Guard archetype. And even just before the Solace, we also got the Doorkeeper archetype with Banner as their first unit. And of course, from this point onward, people were wondering, do we need more archetypes in Arknights, or do we have enough by this point? Of course, even before the Solace, we got a few new archetypes every now and then. Like how we got our first Thronecaster with Click back during Volumont, our first Chargecaster of Iris during the Beyond Here event, or even Jay as our first merchant during the Siesta rerun, and let's not forget Myrtle as our first flag bearer during the first Siesta event. So we were no strangers to new archetypes, with them introducing 5 of them before we got archetype names. If I have not forgotten any archetype that also was released before the Solace, because I'm sure I have. But because there were just so few of them, we never really noticed it. In our mind, these were just more casters and specialists and vanguards, like nothing new. But the moment the Solace introduced the archetype names, suddenly it became a lot more apparent when they added new archetypes. But at least this is how it was for me. But that's not the only thing that set the Solace apart from all of the others. Like, we got 2 new archetypes at once. All of the new archetypes mentioned before, it was just a bit spread out, but now we instantly get 2, both of them being guards, La Pluma and Tequila, which almost makes it half of all new archetypes released within the last 2 years. Going on, next up would be episode 9 Stormwatch. There we got Roberta as our first Artificer, and Marby as our first Wandering Medic. This makes 2 more new archetypes. Afterwards, Pinus Sylvestris introduced our first Fortress Defender Ashlock, and with that, we caught up to 2 years worth of new archetypes. But we are not done yet. Let's continue down the line. Lingering Echoes, Hibiscus Altar, the first Incantation Medic. Cantabile is our first Ancient Vanguard during Ideal City. Then we had episode 11, Return to Mist, with Paprika, the currently one and only Chain Medic. Il Syracusano would be next, with Quartz as our first Crusher Guard. And in the most recent additions to Global, Valorquin, the first Ritualist Supporter, and Coldshot, the first Hunter Sniper. And just with this, we would have 11 new archetypes within another 2 years, which would be double the amount of new archetypes we got in the previous 2 years. And there are still 2 confirmed archetypes that are released in the future. Diamond as the first Brimcaster, and Kappa as the first Loop Shooter Sniper. But let's move back to the original question. Do we really need all those new archetypes, or should I just stop making new archetypes at this point? First of all, let's just say the obvious thing. New archetypes keep the game fresh. Because at one point, we would just get operators that are just like current operators of the same type, but they do one thing different, or they do one thing better. I am especially looking at Frosthaven QA right now for this. New Archetype gives us more operators of a certain class, but also making them feel different from existing operators, while also giving us a new take on this archetype with each new operator. Like, let's take Vendella and Hibiscus Auto for example. Both of them are incantation medics, both of them heal by dealing damage. But Vendella is more useful in healing high HP units. Because of her skill 2, she increases their taunt level, making her excellent with defenders in combination. On the other hand, we have Hibiscus. She just deals damage over time and slows down enemies, giving more healing during the skill uptime, making her more useful for targeting some of the more heavy units that are on the field. Another good example would be with Musai and Vigil, both are tactician vanguards. Musai has a strong summon to help her, and Vigil is just useless. So yeah, every new archetype they add adds something new to the game, something new to play around with. And in the end, these archetypes serve one simple purpose. They are tech demos for either new 6-stars or new mechanics, so that they can improve on those operators without them being too weak when eventually a 6-star version releases of this archetype. This is the reason why all new archetypes are just 4 or 5 stars. Because of Pentabuy, we could have the powerhouse that is Ines. Ines is an excellent ancient vanguard, doubling good as a fast redeploy and even a lane holder if necessary. Because of Iris and Indigo, we could have Ebonholz, the nuke machine. And because of Hibiscus Auto, we could have the war crime known as Reed Auto, who still disguises herself as a medic. And this is going to be the case further down the line as well, with the currently new archetype, the Hunter Sniper with Code Shot, is just a demo for Ray that will release later this year. Because from the looks of it, Ray seems to be a priority unit to get for most of us. And who knows what we'll get after Diamond and Kappa. And if we will ever see another chain medic, because I never saw anyone talk about Paprika. At least Kappa seems promising. And obviously there's Valorquin. She heralds the time for our own elemental damage to hit the field. Now all supporters will gain Apoptosis damage, and all casters will also gain this damage because of Diamant. So what is there more to say about this, right? This seems to be very good. But yeah, there are some arguments against it, obviously. Like, because of all these new archetypes, we are getting way too many operators of one class. Because the more archetypes a class has, the higher the chance is that this class will get a new operator somewhere down the line. There was a reason why Arknights was called Guard Knights for a while, because after some time we just got way too many guards, and the Solace didn't help it with 2 more guard archetypes. And even looking today, some of the strongest operators are guards. Let's just look at Surta, Myrna, Mountain or Shongi for example. But at least all other classes got one new archetype during those 4 years Arknights has been live for, which is better than nothing. And so yeah, with this we will reach the end of this video. You should feel free to leave your own opinion on this matter in the comments. For me personally, I like the new archetypes. They bring back some fun to Arknights. Because of them, we get some fun new things to play around with. Whether it being elemental damage, reloading on snipers, or attacking faster when the enemy is close to you. And maybe because of some of these archetypes, we will find new synergies with other operators, and more unique takes on operators in the future. And with this, I have to say thank you for watching, consider liking and subscribing, and I hope you will have a wonderful day. We will see each other again soon.